Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a tutorial over the Hitokiri, which was added as part of Year 3 Season 2, or also known as Season 10, though no one's going to call it Year 3 Season 2 except for Yubi. So, enough of that. Here with me I have Jcorella, a friend of mine who doesn't
Hi.
play with me that much, but I talk to very often over Discord. He's going to be helping me doing this tutorial. So, things
Alright.
about Hitokiri. She is a heavy class, meaning she will benefit more from saving teammates and also defending points more than other heroes. So before we get into most of her moveset, I'm going to show you the out of lock and also her jump heavy. Upon doing forward dodge heavy, she can do a jump heavy. So if people try and run away from her, she can just feint out of her attacks and do this. It doesn't have much range, but I imagine that it can be useful for catching up to some people. And she also has an out of lock running heavy that does track reasonably well, almost as well as JJ's running heavy as well.
How much damage did it do? I'm trying again.
It does 30 damage. Not bad.
Alright.
Meanwhile, the forward jump heavy does also 30. It seems like all her heavies do 30 damage, which we will get to soon. She also has fast opening lights and heavy, both of which will begin a state known as Mujin Ryu. We both don't know how to pronounce it, so we're just going to go with whatever comes out of our mouths. Uh,
Alright, works for me.
and this will basically bring her into the state, and they're both pretty fast. Um, the heavy has hyper armor, meanwhile the light does not. In the Mujin Ryu state, she can infinitely do heavies or do a single light to end the chain. The ending light has hyper armor, but all the heavies in the chain, other than her first heavy, which initiates it, does not have hyper armor. So that's helpful to keep in mind of. So you can basically use it to counterattack, but as soon as you start, you're going to have to make choices. And she also has options to do an unblockable heavy in Mushin Ryu, or from neutral, which will also have hyper armor and can be cancelled.
Charging the heavy will end the chain, and it has hyper armor though.
Yeah. So as soon as you start the chain, you can do the unblockable, but as soon as you do that, yeah. So you can continue doing heavies almost infinitely, and it does 40 damage if I remember correctly. Yep.
Fully charged? Yep.
Yep. And you can also delay, because it can be doable at any point in the chain, you can delay it an insane amount and it still be blockable. So this can be used to greatly mess up your opponents as well as yourself because you accidentally charged it all the way. But that's how it is, and I also need to give myself more health because he hit me. Um, in the Mushin Ryu state, which is basically mid-chain, you can also press guard break for a bash. And this is basically just a kick that guarantees a heavy or a light, though why you would do a light, I do not exactly know unless you're going for that hyper armor. But yeah, the cool thing about this is it can be canceled with a feint.
Oh.
So by pressing the feint button, you can cancel it and go for a guard break to punish people that are trying to dodge it. However, there is another option, which is you can choose to sweep, which will also punish people trying to dodge it. However, if they back dodge, it's a loss. So press and hold, and he dodged the sweep instead of the kick. So
I thought you would go break. It's fine.
and this only guarantees you a light instead of a heavy, like the kick. So it's whatever's better in the moment. Though I will say, if you're being ganked, it may be more beneficial to do the sweep, as it might have a wider radius, as well as it is also given hyper armor, unlike the kick. So there's that.
The option select on it is amazing because if they dodge, then you can cancel and guard break.
Exactly. So
As well
there's
as
there's a lot of
after the
options
light.
mid chain. There's a lot of options mid chain, but like not many starting options, which I guess is fine. So a lot of Hitokiri are probably going to be relying on their kick and sweep and feint to guard breaks. This is also going to be really great for out of stamina pressure because if anyone tries to dodge the kick, you can just do this and bring them straight into the out of stamina punish. Which, Jcorella, if you please. The out of stamina punish is a total of 60 damage, and you have to perform this exactly as I say. You have to throw them forward, not to the side, not backwards. You have to throw them forward, and without switching guard, do 2 heavies. And this will total for 60 damage.
I believe you can switch guards.
You can switch guards? Well, I mean, no. I
Yes.
mean, like, after you throw them, you can't switch it to the side or anything. Like, mid-chain, you could probably switch guards, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, and since all her heavies seem to be the same speed, mid-chain and starting, there is no difference between, like, hey, her side lights are faster than her top lights or something like that, much like other characters. Okay, so next we're going to be going over Hitokiri's punishes. So her punishes are pretty straightforward. It's pretty much very similar to Warlord's, almost. So on light parry, you will get a heavy, but it's from any direction. So I wasn't ready. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can do side or top heavy. It really doesn't matter because they both guarantee 30 damage. However, her heavy parry punishes is zone, and it will give you 20 damage because unlike her lights, um, that does 2 more damage. So it's more beneficial to do her zone than her light attack for her parry punishes, which is useful to keep in mind. However, zone does quite a bit of stamina, so keep that in mind whenever you actually are punishing. So here we're going to be showing Hitokiri's feats. They're a bit difficult to show off due to their heavy reliance on executing. So her first feat is a simple feat that gains hyper armor on execution, and her third feat, also being passive, gives her a shield while executing and then damage resistance, and I believe Ubisoft said till death. So
I
that's
believe
a
so.
so that's a very important feature. Her second feat is a feat that marks the target, and if
Oh
someone
god,
were
it's
to
whispering in my ears.
place a little animation beside them as you see, and when they are executed, will grant health to all allies on your team, mind you, uh, health. So, like if I were to execute him right now, and there were several other teammates beside me, they would all heal too. And they're very simple feats in that regard. So basically, as soon as I execute him, you'll notice like I have hyper armor and that I have shield, and then after that, the shield will go away and be replaced by damage resistance because of the third feat. And the fourth feat is a bit, I want to say broken, but at the same time, one of the more balanced feats compared to catapult. um,
Catapult or pre nerf
pre
catapult.
nerf catapult, Jesus. Um, it is an instant execute feat, but it does 200 damage. So there is a possibility of surviving with a lot of damage resistance and a high HP character, and the fact that it has a very long startup, but it's an attack that instantly brings someone to an execution and allows you to execute them there. And it does it it does a weird animation, so it's very noticeable. Basically, you start breakdancing before you do it, and here he goes, and straight into an execution.
It's important to note that can be interrupted by any bash, any ranged feat like a longbow. So, yeah.
So it's very important to note that.
Oh,
So
good hit.
yeah, it it's pretty good to mostly use this in team fight situations where your opponent is mostly distracted and probably won't see you out of the corner of his eye. If an opponent is focused on you, they're very likely going to dodge. For instance, I'm gonna try and do this right now out from neutral. Yeah, and as you saw, it leaves a decent bit of recovery, so you can be guard broken. There's also a very weird animation where it looks like it's going to attack you before it actually does, so be wary of that. And I found that out the hard way just now because I've never actually seen this up close. Um,
Yeah, the timing is very slow.
it's very
You can literally
it's
just hit him with a light at the beginning if you see it starting.
yeah. So
I made a mistake.
you hit me with a light and you were still able to dodge. But yeah, that's pretty much Hitokiri in a nutshell. If you guys did like this guide and you also like Jcorella, make sure to leave a like or comment and You guys know what to do if you guys like my channel and want to see more videos. I'll see you guys later.